I think one of the biggest difficulties people have when trying to do a new thing is right off the bat, you believe perfection exists. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. So I am Kati Baloy, and for you guys who's your first time here, this channel is about self-development. I've been studying self-development for about 10 years, 11 years, since I was about 16 years old. And through it, I have managed to build a career in sales. I've gotten married and I've become an amateur bodybuilder, hoping one day to be a professional bodybuilder. When they're trying to achieve a goal, progress over perfection. In the video, essentially, you guys are going to get an idea of, one, the mindset around why it doesn't really help you at the end of the day to be a perfectionist. Two, how to overcome the fact that you are perfectionist and what to do to really just get on with the work and do the thing you actually want to be doing, and the consequences of being a perfectionist. So we can dive right in. Essentially, I personally have had a lot of issues with wanting to do things perfectly sometimes, and other times not. It just depends on what the thing is, right? What it took for me more than anything else has been changing the mindset around when I'm going to start something new. I think one of the biggest difficulties people have when trying to do a new thing is right off the bat, you believe perfection exists. That's the biggest problem. You think it exists. You think there's a version of reality where you're actually going to do this and it's going to be fantastic and it's going to be perfect. But there's probably the best person in the world who does it better than anybody else, whatever that thing is, doesn't do it perfectly. I remember in high school, we'd be studying for exams, and I would see how the people who did the best in school were reacting before the exam. And I remember I had a very close friend of mine who was one of these like top performers at school at the time, and the best in the school as well. It was not very close, but I would see her sometimes. And there was something similar to both of them. One, they were super anxious, nervous wrecks. Two, they were like revising right before walking into the classroom and like freaking out and sweating, and had all like their like notepad thingies in, and those things that stick out of the books where they're able to just kind of go back and look at the things that they doubted themselves on, and they're testing themselves while we're getting ready for the exam. They're testing themselves. Now, incidentally, weirdly enough, us low grade students, we were just chilling. So we were just honestly just doing our thing. Like, we were just sitting, we're like, cool, we're probably not going to do well at this exam anyway, which is fine. It's not that big a deal to us, but to them it's a huge deal. And what that, taught me was that the people who are really good at something don't do it perfectly. They may get a really good result, but the process is often not perfect. And what you find when you see these people sweating, freaking out, stressing, and then at the end of it, you get the marks back and they're the ones who are doing better than anybody else. What you learn from this is that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the process really looks like. Because a lot of the time, the process is full of imperfections. It's nasty, it's ugly, it's gross, it's disgusting, it's full of lots of like failings, and then you get there and you have a good result. So what does it matter that the process was really messy? What does it matter that the process didn't look good? Because perfection doesn't exist. And one of the fallacies we've told ourselves is that it does exist. That there is a version of reality where you do this perfectly. That everybody else who has figured this thing out done it better than you, and they've done it perfectly. That's kind of what you told yourself. They've done it perfectly. They've got it under control. They've figured the whole thing out. And those people who have figured out this magically just had a perfect way of doing it. Now, are there people who are super organized, super meticulous, absolute perfectionists, and get it right? Yeah, they are. They actually are. They're very few and far between, but they are. And this is the thing, you have to understand that it doesn't exist. That process of getting to the result is ugly and nasty. As long as the result still comes out well, and even if it doesn't, who cares? Who cares? Which I guess leads us really into one of the most important parts of dealing with it. What do you do, right? Because this is the mindset. The first thing from the mindset perspective is that it doesn't actually exist. That oftentimes what you're thinking of when you say, this person has done it perfectly, is that the result looks perfect, but the process is oftentimes, almost 99% of the time, not perfect at all. It's often really messy. We can look at a lot of examples. You look at Mr. Olympia, look at Chris Bumstead, has physique Mr. Olympia. So many, almost all of his preps for winning the Olympia were horrible. When he came second, he found out he had an autoimmune disease and his ankle sore up like a few weeks, like 2-3 weeks out of the show, right? He won an Olympia title with a torn lat. He won an Olympia title with a torn bicep. He won an Olympia title with a torn hamstring. I mean, what more do you need? At that point, why does it have to go perfectly? At the end of the day, he still won every single title. It doesn't matter how he got to the title. What matters is that he got the title. The process was messy and gross and disgusting and full of pain and all these difficult things. So you guys need to start understanding the mindset is that the process doesn't need to be perfect for the result to be what you want it to be, or a perfect result. The second thing on how to actually get through this is action. Is that you just have to act. You have to just jump in. You just have to start. That's the thing. That's the hardest part for most people, is that the reality is once you understand there is no version of perfect here, it needs to open up the freedom for you to be able to just jump in and do it. Go ahead. The thing that you keep procrastinating on and freaking out about, because at the end of the day, you are just procrastinating. Your idea of this wonderful, perfect way that you're going to do it is just procrastination. I have a close friend of mine who did this with the gym for years, and finally it clicked with him that it didn't need to be perfect to start. It doesn't have to be perfect to start. And it's actually funny. Today I saw a WhatsApp status of a friend of mine. Maybe he'll watch this. And he's a young kid, and he's extremely just gifted in lifting and got an amazing physique. And I just messaged him as a joke saying, yeah, time to step on stage. And he said, I have to put on a lot more size. And I wish to tell him what I was told by my friend. It's like an older brother to me, Brad. He said to me, outside of the gym one day, I've been training now. This is 2021. So I started training in 2017. I'm training now 4 years? 4 years, right? So I'm consistent. So this is 4 years of just non-stop training besides COVID. And he says to me, Kati, there'll never be the right time for your first show. It will never be the right time for you to do your first show. There will never be a perfect time. And those words are actually what got me to the stage for the first time. It's him saying that. Because what he was telling me is that my desire to create this perfect look was stopping me from getting the experience or just getting to the stage, because it's never going to be the right time. It's never the right time to do something for the first time. It's never a convenient time to be uncomfortable. And I would often have this difficulty a lot of times where somebody really wants to start something, but they're waiting for the right season. They're waiting for them to figure out this other part of their lives first that doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't mean anything. And this is something I'm really passionate about, because it doesn't mean anything, guys. You have to understand. You just have to start. You just have to jump. And you'll figure it out. One of my favorite things that has literally ran my life, I wish I could tell you how much this has affected my life, is from Grant Cardone's book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. Commit first and figure the rest out later. It is one of the best things I've ever heard. Commit first and figure the rest out later. It has an effect in my relationship, had an effect in bodybuilding, had an effect in so many aspects of my life, that you need to decide to do it, put your foot in, and figure it out later. That at the end of the day, you're not going to have all the answers on how this is going to go before you do it. It's only in the doing of the activity, the doing of the thing, in the pursuit of the goal, that you find out what it's about, that you find out the details, you find out the direction. When you step, you're like, oh, there's a road here. And you're stepping out, there's nothing, there's no road. You're standing and you're stepping out into a cliff. You're on a cliff, right? Imagine you're on the edge of a cliff, and there's me. You're like, just step out, bro. Just walk. Put your foot forward. I'm just telling you, put your foot forward. It doesn't have to be me, right? I'm just one random voice, right? It could be your partner. You could hear God tell you that I've got this. Step forward. Do it. And you're scared because there's nothing below you. There's just the sky. This death is what you think is there. You're going to see the whole picture. You take a step forward and then a step appears. There's solid ground. In front of you, there's nothing. Again, you take a step forward, there's solid ground again. You take another step forward. Okay, the next 2-3 steps are visible, so you can walk those. Okay, cool. You start walking. Now you're starting to figure it out. You build the plane. You built the plane on the way down. And why? Why do we do this? Why do we struggle? Why do we struggle to just start? Is it because you need everything to be perfect? Is it because you think that you have this idea of you're going to create the best thing ever when you finally do it? Because when you do it, you're not going to make any mistakes because you're Sasuke and you're going to do it perfectly. No. It's because you're just scared to fail. You're just scared to make mistakes. That's your problem. I've had that problem. We all had that problem. And I'm talking from experience. Like, take this whole channel as a great example of something that was really difficult for me to start. Take bodybuilding. 4 years of training. I shredded down and I got bigger and I trained and I gained muscle and I was looking good, but I was still not confident enough. It's not about whether you're ready or not. You're just scared to fail. It's not about creating this perfect look. It's not about doing this thing in the perfect way. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. You're just scared of making mistakes. And there's that fear of making mistakes that keeps getting in the way. It's that fear of making mistakes that you are mistaking for perfectionism. It is every time you tell yourself, I just need this to be right for this to work, that you lie to yourself. You lie to yourself because you think it's because you want it to be perfect, but you want it to be perfect because you're scared to make any mistakes. And what you don't understand is that all you're doing is delaying the inevitable, is that when you start, you're only going to make mistakes. You're only going to mess it up. I'll start gym when this is perfectly fine. But the thing is, you're going to start, and for the first year, 2 years, 3 years, it's gonna suck, and you're gonna miss so many days, and you're gonna have mornings where you said you're gonna do it and you're not gonna do it, and you end up going. You don't end up going. You're gonna have mornings where you said you're finally gonna get there, and today you're gonna have a great workout, and then you got to the gym and you had a terrible workout. You're gonna have days where you thought you're really gonna make it to the gym and you didn't make it to the gym because this got in the way and that got in the way and this excuse got in the way and that excuse got in the way. What you misunderstand is that you're going to make mistakes anyway. And I remember, the funniest part is, I've seen this play out so much with me and my wife. What's so funny with us is that she's often sometimes struggled with the whole fear of failure thing. The thing I'm talking about right now is making mistakes. And what I would say to her, when we're watching Naruto, and we're rewatching Naruto, we finished the main part of Naruto. We're currently in the third arc of Shippuden. And I said to her that when we were driving sometime and I was explaining how the process of trying new things is very difficult, and I had to sit down and look at it and say, you're not Sasuke. And she's like, wait, what do you mean I'm not Sasuke? I'm like, yeah, you're not Sasuke. And she's like, but then if I'm not Sasuke, I'm like, you're Rock Lee, bro. Most of us are Rock Lee. Most of us are just going to be sitting there doing 1,000 skips, doing 1,000 push-ups, beating a paw until your hands are bleeding. Like, let's just be honest. Most of us are not going to be Sasuke or Neji in Naruto. We're not going to be the genius. That's just the reality. The majority are not going to be the genius. And more likely you're watching this now because you know you're not the genius and you just want to get better. You want to improve yourself. You're not Sasuke. And Lord knows I'm not, bruh. I'm closer to Choji. So what I'm going to say is that at the end of the day, when I said that to her, she was like, it couldn't really register that you're not the gifted kid. You're actually the kid who needs to put in tons and tons of hard work. What helped me is that I learned that lesson really, really early on. When I was really, really young. Like, I'm talking grade like 2 or 3. I was like, okay, I'm not that guy. I'm not the good looking, smart, like I'm not that guy. Which helped me so much because I had a real clear grip on reality. which had me have to understand. I had to really get it. Okay, I'm not Sasuke, which means I'm gonna have to sit here and I'm gonna have to grind it and grind it and grind it, and it's gonna be harder for me than anybody else. That is a mindset I took. There's not gonna be any freebies. I'm not gonna have it easy. It's going to be constantly difficult. And that is so much for my mentality going in, and allowed me to be able to work as hard as possible with the right mindset, and allowed me to fail. Because when you think that you're meant to be gifted, like some people, you grow up with this idea that you're just meant to be good at things in the beginning. And that's what I was talking about with the Sasuke thing. It's you think that the first time you try something, you're just supposed to be good at it. But that's not the case at all. At all. The case is you're gonna have to fail and fail and fail again and again. So this assumption that you're just meant to be good at things the first time you try them is what stops you from trying things in the first place. Because you assume that you have to be good at them. And then comes in this other very dangerous fallacy that comes as a protection mechanism against the feeling of failing. The protection mechanism is simple. You understand very clearly that you're scared. And now you may not tell people that, but you know it, and I know. Okay, cool. So we know you're scared. And because you're scared to make mistakes and to fail, you want to save face. You want to look good. So what you do is you don't try the 100%. Because if you never tried at the 100%, you never failed, did you? If you never gave it everything, did you fail? Or did you not really try? Well, you didn't fail. You could have done more, and you know you could have done more. So you think, well, didn't really try anyway, because it's easier to do that. It's easier to believe that if you just didn't try anyway, so it's not a failure. It's really just that, you didn't care that much anyway. It's easy to act like you didn't care because you're so scared of the pain of making mistakes and falling and failing and messing up. And I need you guys to get it if you're ever going to get anywhere with this personal development journey, because this helped me a ton, is that I am very aware, and I've been very aware for many years, that my face needs to eat dirt time and time again. My first show that I did, 2021. This is a show because of what I told you. And I did the show because I understood that I need to find out how much I really love bodybuilding, which I'll make a whole video about afterwards. And I had to find out, do I really love this? So I get on stage. And I come dead last. And my girlfriend, who's now my wife, she comes up to me worried, concerned that I'm going to be depressed and sad about it. She told me this. She was so worried about it. And I was so happy. I came to her and I was like, this is the most amazing thing in the world. I'm in love with this sport. And she was so shocked because she genuinely thought I was going to be distraught about what happened. What she's realized about me over the years is that I understand that there's a long enough period of time where I'm supposed to eat dirt at something that I haven't put in the hours for yet, until I'm gonna win at it and get good at it. And I did that with money when it came to sales and learning to make money in sales. I just ate dirt and ate dirt and ate dirt until finally, I remember it was so bad that when we were first dating, she used to say that my car ran on ambition and dreams, partly because there was never enough money for petrol in it, and partly because the car was always breaking down. So I just need you guys to get, because that conceptually I've always understood that you just need to keep eating the dough. And me and my brother would understand this. We'd go on drives, go buy Monster, listen to Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, rage out in the car with anger, understanding that we're just gonna keep eating dirt for the next couple of years until we don't have to anymore. And that's what you need to understand, that failure is not some horrible, painful thing. And go look at my video before this on the fear of failure. Where I made it, I think the last video I put out, and I'll link it up here. But you have to understand that you're going to need to fail and not be scared of it and accept it. And the idea is, if you can really accept failure as part of the process, the progress you're going to make is going to be monumental, because you understand it's part of it. Like if you take a person, right, who can't conceptualize that they're supposed to fail and thinks they're supposed to do well at things every time the first time, and then they fail. What happens to them? They're out for the count. That failure is going to dilapidate them so badly. And I know people like this. I've met people like this, had friends like this, family like this, where the failure takes them out so much that they're... So what you understand is that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter when you fail. It's part of the process. Drop down, make a mistake, learn from the mistake, take the information, move forward. Because perfectionism doesn't exist. It's never going to help you, and it's never going to allow you to get the thing done. It's only going to leave you trapped in a state of procrastination and analysis paralysis, because you keep thinking about how to make it right when the only right thing to do is to take action. Because action will always override the thinking mind. Guys, I want you to take these lessons, right? Take what you've learned here. One, that perfection isn't real, and it doesn't help you to believe that it is. That the process is always messy, and what you perceive as perfection is not real. It is merely a way to procrastinate. That two, you just have to start, because action will always overwhelm the thinking mind. And to start, you find out. When you start, when you commit, when you jump in, is when you figure it out. You figure out how to make it work, how to make it better, how to improve on it. And three, you understand that perfection often masks itself as just a fear of failure, and that you have to make mistakes, and that all you're doing is trying to avoid making those mistakes. When you understand that, it should give you the freedom to stop making those mistakes and to just start the thing that you've been putting off all this time. And whatever it is, write in the comments down below, go home with it, and tell me what is the thing that you keep wanting to do that you're just not doing. And then go start it. I'll see you guys in the next one.